Our next speaker is Dr. Nisreen Lahham. Dr. Nisreen is a regional project manager for wastewater reuse in the MENA region at the International Water Management Institute. She holds a PhD degree in urban planning with focus on environmental economics. Recently, she was regional advisor to GIZ at the Nexus dialogue. Prior to that, she worked an Egyptian cabinet think tank, Information and Decision. Her interests are mainly in water and food security, green building, and foresight. I will invite Dr. Nisreen to present her presentation, which titled Nexus in MENA region, Lesson Learned and Innovative Approaches.
Good morning, everyone. It's my great pleasure to participate in Cairo Water Week for the third time. And I'd like to congratulate the organizers of this event for the great coordination in this challenging time. My presentation, as Dr. Ala has mentioned, is on water, energy, food nexus in the MENA region, lessons learned and innovative approaches. Actually, these lessons learned are derived from my experience in coordinating the Nexus Dialogue Program, GIZ program, for 4 years. Here I will present the context and main framework conditions for WEF Nexus in the MENA region. Where do we stand regarding Nexus? What are their Nexus applications and initiatives, and some key messages. As for the context and main framework conditions for water, energy, food nexus in the MENA region, the three main sectors, food security, the region is considered the world's largest importer of wheat. Regarding the water security, we all know that the region is suffering from severe water scarcity, being half of the region below water scarcity. And regarding the energy security, there are 35 million with no access to electricity, although 43% of world's oil reserves are in the region. And on the supply side, despite being there immense potential for renewable energy, and regarding the two sectors, water and food, there will be some decrease in water supply regarding climate change effects, and considering the fact that 60% or over 60% of water resources are from outside the region. On the demand side, there are two major trends in the region. One is the high level of population growth, and the second trend is urbanization, as people are leaving the rural areas and being settled in cities. These two trends also increase demand for water, energy, and food, and all this context has to be considered regarding the water, energy, and food nexus when we look at the interlinkages and the trade-offs between these three sectors, where the growing demand in one sector has risks to other sectors and resources, and where low efficiencies in the use of one sector could have negative impacts on the other resources. For instance, for the water and food sectors, the agricultural sector is the largest user of water resources with inefficient irrigation techniques, yet there are plans to expand irrigated lands with overuse of groundwater. So from where we can get these water resources? This has to be considered. For the food and energy sectors, the energy demand for agricultural expansion has to be considered for water pumping and for fertilizers production. And as for the energy and water security dimension of the WEF Nexus, there are renewable energy is rapidly taking off in the region, yet the subsidized electricity in the agricultural sector make the use of these renewables not attractive enough to use them. This whole context has to be considered when we look at the MENA region and we ask the question, where do we stand now regarding the mainstreaming of water, energy, food nexus. Here I can say that the water, energy, food nexus is mainstreamed on policy level. The region, Nexus Regional Dialogue in the MENA region has been collaborating with the League of Arab States for almost 5 years in mainstreaming this approach, and 6 policy briefs were conducted and endorsed by the League of Arab States and the Arab Ministerial Water Council. This platform and other dialogue platforms contributed to increasing awareness on the Nexus tool or Nexus approach among policy makers. And this approach, I can say, is promoted at the Arab Ministerial Water Council as it contains a special paragraph on Nexus in each meeting of this committee at the League of Arab States. Yet, there is a low response of member states at the League of Arab States, which highlights the urgent need to emphasize the tangible benefits from the Nexus approach and to link the Nexus to the SDGs and the NDCs and the ambitious targets for countries to adopt this Nexus approach. Nexus is on the agenda of international and regional organizations. Some organizations are very active in the region for some sufficient periods, such as UNESCO, FAO, Minaret Project, funded by SIDA, the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, and the Arab Water Council. And actually now there's a network of international and regional organizations working together on mainstreaming the Nexus approach. Also, they have conducted several activities regarding capacity building activities and organizing high-level events. But I can say also that the countries are not fully interested in joining these events, or not just joining the events and considering the Nexus approach and putting their plans and strategies on the national level and on project level as well. And here I can say that Nexus has to be simplified. We have to make Nexus simple. Maybe we can not name it Nexus. We can say we have to enhance the cooperation and collaboration between several ministries. But by the end, it's a Nexus that has been adopted. The Nexus approach started from the water sector. It is water-centric. The water sector that has initiated this approach. Yet recently, the agricultural sector has been engaged in mainstreaming the Nexus through the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, where the organization has a regional strategy, recent one, with a Nexus dimension. And this also is manifested in the Cairo Declaration, where the agriculture and water sectors work together. And as we see, for the third time, they are convening in the Cairo Water Week, where this is a very, very clear example of Nexus working, water and agriculture working together. Yet here, there's a call for more involvement of the energy sector with cross-sectoral coordination, and the energy sector has to be more effective with considering Nexus, especially with the great initiatives in the region for using the renewable energy. One issue that has to be considered when we talk about water and energy food nexus, which is the practices that we have in the urban sector. Actually, the water, energy, and food threats are outcomes from the urban practices or policies. We can witness the excessive energy use and the subsidies in the energy sector, with 50% of the energy being used in the building and transportation sectors. So this is a very high percentage of energy use. Also, for the water sector, we can see the overconsumption of water resources with low efficiency, especially in the new cities in Egypt, for instance, and the unused solid waste causing pollution in cities. So here there's a role for cities and municipalities to take part in this Nexus approach and to implement projects regarding Nexus. We talk about Nexus and the coordination on the horizontal level between water, energy, food, environment, but we have to consider also the integration and the coordination on the vertical level between the national level, between national policies and plans, and the municipalities and cities, where they are the real implementers of projects on ground. So here we call for an urban nexus approach that could be on the urban level and at city level. Actually, there were some initiatives, small initiatives in the region for urban nexus, and here I can name many of the projects funded by CEDA, where it had some activities on building capacities on urban nexus for municipalities in 3 countries, Jordan, Lebanon, and Tunisia, using a bottom-top approach. So it was really the trend to capacitate the policymakers on the national level and regional level, but this initiative is looking at the bottom-top approach for municipalities and citizens, engaging the private sector and community on building their capacities. What is Nexus? What are the benefits of Nexus, and how we can implement it? So there were some suggested projects on the city level, regarding using the renewable energy efficiency, wastewater management, solid waste recycling, and urban agriculture. Yet here, there is an urgent need to empower municipalities and cities in terms of governance and decision-making and decentralization, especially regarding funds and allocating funds to these cities to be able to suggest these Nexus projects that can benefit the community and engage the community and have some access to finance. And this was one of the pillars that Minert now is working on, is enabling these municipalities to have some proposals for projects of Nexus with some access of funds with banks and with non-banking financial institutions as well. As for the water, energy, food Nexus applications, here I can name two options for implementing the Nexus on ground. One being the solar pumping irrigation system as a technical solution for energy and food security, where it can have great benefits on creating jobs with economic benefits, reducing production costs for farmers, mitigate climate change impacts, and have a sustainable green, it can be considered as a green business. Yet, on the other side, it has risks of encouraging great water extraction and the inefficient use of water, with the sustainability risk and the challenge of water management. I will not talk more about the solar pumping because my dear colleague, Dr. Majid, will elaborate more on this issue. It is important also. But here I can mention that the solar pumping irrigation systems, or SPIS as we name it, must be considered within a Nexus perspective to ensure water sustainability, and the subsidies in water, energy, and food sectors should be planned in a holistic approach and used as incentive for more integration of the water, energy, food sectors. And also I have to mention the efforts of the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation in also conducting this issue of the solar pumping, where they have the remote sensing issue, and they are following and monitoring the use of groundwater, especially regarding the more use of this resource with the almost free applications of solar pumping. The other example that I can name on Nexus applications is wastewater reuse. It's considered a Nexus solution for environmental benefits and returns on investment, as we can, through treating wastewater and reusing it, create productive green belts, produce fodder for livestock, and irrigate fruit trees or cash crops, considering, of course, safety regulations, and the co-production of fuel or biogas, and ensure the cleaner water bodies and improved human health. And here I can name a very successful example most of you are informed of, which is the Asamra wastewater treatment plant. It may be considered a very good successful story from the region, where treated wastewater is used in food production, with the energy more than 80% being from the plant itself, and the use of sludge to energy, using sludge into energy, with a feasible financial model with public-private participation. Yet, regarding wastewater, there's a need for the region to upscale these initiatives and to have an approach, we can name it fit-for-purpose approach, to ensure this feasibility of these initiatives for treated wastewater and reusing it according to the context, according to the crops we irrigate, and to some criteria, and to ensure that water subsidies and water tariffs are in place. And here, I'll just name some initiatives, water, energy, food initiatives in the region, one of them being Rewater MENA project. This project is implemented by the International Water Management Institute, IWMI, and funded by SIDA. I recently joined IWMI to manage this regional project with the objective of addressing challenges that limit opportunities to upscale and accelerate the expansion of wastewater across the MENA region, building on three pillars: awareness of the constraints, identifying the innovations in the region and outside the region, and the expansion of safe wastewater reuse in participatory approach. And with many partners, as you see on this slide, it's implemented in 3 countries: Egypt, Jordan, and Lebanon. The innovative approach of this project is that it's used a participatory approach on local level and on national level, and with national learning alliances, also having some conceptual designs and feasibility studies in a participatory approach. The other example I will mention, water energy for food MENA regional hub. This was initiated or launched last month by IWMI with other partners. And the objective of this platform is to enable the private sector for sustainable Nexus implementation by providing for them technical assistance, financial assistance, access to networks, and enabling environment to boost their business, how they can produce more food with less water and less energy, and how they can have this financial support, and they can have access to the end user and also be self-sufficient and sustainable on the long run. I'll just skip this slide and I'll just mention some 5 key messages that we have to consider if we would have the objective of mainstreaming Nexus in the MENA region. There's a need to link Nexus to countries' targets and objectives, mainly SDGs and NDCs, engage the energy sector in Nexus and respond to climate change, and empower municipalities and cities to take part in Nexus projects, allow access to finance for Nexus projects, and adopt a participatory approach in decision-making. Finally, we have to work together as international organizations, regional organizations, ministries, and local governments on mainstreaming the Nexus and taking it from theory to implementation. And thank you. I think I'm building.
Thank you, Dr. Nisreen.